Hi, my name's Julie Dundon. I'm an advanced accredited practicing dietitian, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about serving sizes of food. How do we know that our serving sizes are right? So many times when I see clients, they often say they know what to eat, but their serving sizes are all wrong. They just have too much of everything. And how do you know that you're having enough? Previously, I've talked about the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, and it does give you some serving sizes, but that's means sometimes you have to weigh things. So how do you know at a glance whether you've got it right? One of the things that we look at, an easy way, is to use what we call the healthy plate. And when we talk about meat and vegetables, often in our minds, you might be thinking that meat is one half of the plate and vegetables are the other. But in fact, it needs to be half the plate of the vegetables, a quarter is made up of the protein foods, and the quarter is made up of the carbohydrate foods. So that might be a potato or rice or even a slice of bread. So in your mind, a healthy way of eating, a healthy plate, a healthy meal will be to have half of it as the vegetables. You can use the same principles if you're making a stir fry or a mixed casserole or a stew. You want about a half of it to be vegetables and only a quarter of it being the meat. So often when we go out and we order a casserole or a curry, most of it is meat, and that's really quite the wrong way round. What we're needing to do is most of it being the vegetables. Now, getting the serving sizes correct helps us in lots of different ways. One of the things to think about, and just this fantastic book, if you haven't seen it already, is called This Equals That. It's written by a dietitian called Trudy Williams, but it's full of pictures which shows you some equivalence in serving sizes, in energy or calories or kilojoule equivalents. And you can see that this meal here, with one small lamb chop with the fat still on, there's some wedges, and then there's some coleslaw with some creamy dressing. That has the same energy in it as this huge big plate of vegetables and the piece of grilled fish and the banana and the fruit. So energy wise, this meal here is equivalent to all of that. So you can see how much more food you can eat if you have at least half of your food is made up of vegetables. So just remember that we need to have 5 cups of vegetables in the day. So we do need to have those generous servings. When it comes to fruit, those 2 serves of fruit. So use pieces of fruit as a serve. And we need to have them, but that doesn't mean to say we need 22 pieces of fruit. 2 pieces of fruit, or maybe 3 if you need a few more. So just the other thing is that many times when we buy food now, certainly from takeaway outlets, they're always trying to get us to upsize things. Even if we're not hungry, we're being asked if we want a larger serve. Just remember, if you don't need it, it's a waste of money. So don't be fooled into thinking it's better value, because if it's something you don't need, you've paid more for it, you've actually consumed it and it's extra to your needs. So it really doesn't do you any good at all. The other thing that we can do to really look and see exactly what we're eating is to read the nutrition label, that nutrition information panel. There are 3 components of a nutrition information panel. Each of them tells us a different story. One, if they've got a claim, whether it's diet or low joule or low sugar or a whole range of different claims. Another one is the ingredients list, and another one is called the nutrition information panel. And by law, there needs to be 7 components on that nutrition information panel: the energy, the carbohydrate, the protein, the sugars, the fats, the saturated fats, and the amount of sodium. And there are 2 components to a nutrition information panel. There's what there is per 100 grams and often what there is per serve. if you're going to compare two products, always compare the per 100 grams with another product, because you'll find very often the serving sizes are so different, it's really difficult to make a comparison. So then you'll be looking for foods that perhaps are the lowest in energy, or you might be trying to find foods that are the lowest in sodium. So it depends on what particular nutrient you're trying to look for. So if you're trying to find something that's the lowest in energy or the lowest in kilojoules or calories, look for that one. Fat is one indicator, but so is the carbohydrates and even the protein. If it's loaded with protein or it's loaded with carbohydrate and quite low in fat, you'll find that it's still very high in energy. So it's the calories or the kilojoules that you actually need to compare per 100 grams with the two products. So reading labels, it is a bit of a tricky thing. Certainly the nutrition information panel, you need to have some practice and look at those. When you look at the ingredients, it's listed in descending order. So the first ingredient that you read is the biggest ingredient. Right down to the very end is the smallest ingredient. So if you're trying to avoid sugar, and sugar is the first ingredient, then you know that the major ingredient in that product is sugar. And that's really not a good thing for you to have if you're trying to avoid it. But if sugar is the end of something, 3 or 4 or 5 ingredients down the track, then you know that the sugar content is probably going to be quite low. And that might be a really good product then for you to choose. So the ingredients list, along with the nutrition information panel, or the NIP, gives you that information that you can make some sort of decision. Claims, there are some things about food that you can claim, whether it's low in fat or high in fibre. But that information also needs to be on the label, and that will be sitting in that nutrition information panel. We'll talk more about the nutrition information panel in more depth another time, but that's a really good place to start. Start looking to see what's on those nutrition information panels on the food in your pantry. The other comment though is that fresh food doesn't come with nutrition information panels. And if you're eating more fresh food, you won't need to worry about these things. You're buying and eating fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, cereals like rolled oats. They won't have anything added to them, and therefore there won't be an ingredients list. There won't be a nutrition information panel on an apple, for instance. So if you're eating fresh as best you can, you won't even need to worry about understanding the labelling, because there won't be such things. So I hope that helps a little bit. We've just talked about getting the proportions right, the serving sizes, and if you get it right, it often means that you can eat a lot more for the same amount of energy. There are such things also when it comes to plates. You can actually buy plates and bowls that give you an idea that you can actually serve food onto, and really helps you control your serve sizes. So that's all for now. I'll see you again.